I heard a crack. Eli pushed me away. "You okay?" I said. "Something's wrong," he said. His penis, which had been hard a few seconds earlier, had shrunk. His testicles were the size of oranges. I wrapped a sarong around me and ran to the hotel bar for ice. By the time I returned, his testicles were the size of grapefruits. The bartender said there's a hospital 40 minutes away. "Hospitals in the Bahamas are terrible," Eli said. "Get my phone and call the boat. They can call a doctor." Eli worked on a private yacht based in the Bahamas. I had flown from Miami to meet him on his weekend off. I dialed the captain and passed the phone. As Eli explained to his boss what happened, I heard laughter. I wrapped the ice in a towel and put it on Eli's groin. It was getting worse. His swollen balls were now dark purple. His penis wilted. "I've got a doctor on the line," the captain said. "He said if you heard a crack, you need to go to the hospital immediately. Did you hear a crack?" We both nodded. "Yes," said Eli. "There was a loud crack, and then my dick died." The captain said, "Fly to the U.S. as soon as possible. You need surgery." I looked at Eli and wanted to cry. Maybe he wouldn't be the same after surgery. Eli was 10 years younger than me, only 28. I didn't know him well enough to even know if he wanted children someday. But what if he couldn't have any because of this? At least I'd had children. I wondered what Eli was thinking. Just then he said, "Do you think I'll be able to get hard again?" The first flight to Miami was the next morning. All night, I changed the ice pack and prayed he'd be okay. In Miami, the doctor found a tear at the base of an artery that carries blood to the penis. When Eli accidentally hit my pelvic bone instead of entering my vagina, the impact caused his penis to bend. The crack we heard was the tissue tearing. The fluid swelling his testicles was the blood draining from his erection. The doctor said, "It's called a fractured penis." You're actually the third case we've had this week. But your case is the worst. "Really?" I said. "This happens a lot during sex?" "It can," said the doctor, "but my recent cases were different. One was a bar fight, and one was a kick by a horse." Oh my God, sex with me is worse than being kicked by a horse? The next morning, as Eli was prepped for surgery, I tried to fill out his hospital paperwork, but didn't know the answers to most of the questions. We had met 4 months earlier when I was a guest on the boat Eli worked on. His skin was golden from working in the sun, and his shaggy hair hung in his eyes. He looked like Owen Wilson. On the night we met, I'd wandered up to the yacht's top deck to be alone. Eli was there. I tried to keep my distance, but as Eli made small talk, I learned we were both from the same city in Indiana. As the boat cruised the peaceful waters of the Bahamas, our conversation was lit by the moon. I asked about his year of travel. He asked about my kids. I asked if he liked his job. He asked if he could kiss me. We started sleeping together right away. We didn't see each other often, but when we did, we spent most of the time in bed. This was a perfect situation for me. I had been married 10 years and was recently divorced. I wasn't looking for a new husband or even for a new boyfriend. My heart was closed. "He wants to see you before he goes into the OR," said the nurse. I hurried to his room. There was an IV in his arm. He looked a little too happy, so they must have started dripping some pain meds. Eli handed me his cell and asked me to call his parents after surgery to let them know he was okay. We laughed about that conversation, knowing that I'd never met his parents. He motioned for me to lean closer. He gave me a kiss and took my hand. I held on until the nurses wheeled him out of the room, and just before the door shut behind him, he mouthed, "I love you." It was the first time he'd said it to me. I spent the next 5 hours in the waiting room wondering if he really meant what he said or if it was the drugs talking. The doctor finally came in. It was a deep tear, he said, but I expect him to heal fully. What a relief. I thanked him. The doctor said, "It's very important he doesn't have an erection for 8 to 10 weeks. Men can have 10 or more erections a day, including when they're asleep. When he gets an erection, just put a bag of ice on his penis." What? My children were coming home from visiting the next day after visiting their father. I couldn't ice his penis. I called Eli's parents. His dad answered. "Hi, it's Betsy," I said. "I'm Eli's, friend? He's out of surgery, everything went well." I continued. "The doctor said he can't have an erection for 8 weeks. The line was silent. Then I heard laughter. "Did you hear that, Patty?" his dad said. I realized his mom was on the line too. My face felt bright red. "I'll have him call you when he's out of recovery," I said, and hung up quickly. Eli went to his parents' house to recover, but while he was gone, I missed him. Without knowing it, I had started to care about Eli more than I expected, more than I intended. I invited him to come stay with me and my kids. We couldn't have sex, so we talked. I had him watch my favorite movie, Harold and Maude. He understood why it was important to me, even though it was made before he was born. He told me about his first time scuba diving at night. He said when he looked up from the darkness 50 feet below the surface, he saw thousands of stars shining through the ocean, dancing like fireflies in the water. He made me want to see and feel the stars like he did. We learned more about each other in those few weeks than we had in 4 months of dating. I learned that I could love again. Near the end of his recovery, Eli got hard. Instead of reaching for a bag of ice, he reached for me. We made love slowly, carefully, reverently, for the first time since his surgery. Eli was healing, and it felt like parts of me that had been hardened by my divorce were finally being cracked open. Thank you.